Hello, I'm Richard Turkington, the Director of Housing Vision, and I'd like to introduce our HMA and Housing Requirements Toolkit. Deciding how much housing we need in the future is one of the most contentious and critical issues facing our society. Policies and plans must be based on robust evidence. We need to know what types and tenures of housing are required, and then there's the question of housing our ageing population. But we face uncertain times. The trajectory of our economy and housing market is volatile and unpredictable. In order to deliver the best solutions in constantly changing market conditions, planners, housing professionals, developers and house builders all need the ability to test different scenarios. Demographic projections, static reports, and skips full of tables are not the answer. You need the ability to work with official data from a multitude of sources in one place and manipulate this complexity to provide meaningful outputs. Housing Vision's HMA and Housing Requirements Toolkit does all this and more. The toolkit allows you to explore competing scenarios in depth and revisit your model as conditions change, so you can be absolutely confident in your decision making. The toolkit allows you to assess the match between housing and households, monitor housing costs and affordability, establish current and future housing requirements by bed size, tenure and age of household, and project the specialised requirements of an ageing population. Feedback from a wide range of users has confirmed that the toolkit's structured framework makes it simple to use. There's no need for any special training. Results are clearly presented, and it's easy to track the intermediate steps. When you come to present your findings to colleagues, stakeholders and providers, the toolkit's clear visual presentation of results and ability to dynamically show its workings add credibility and weight to your argument. So let's take an example. All data in each toolkit is specific to your area. This toolkit uses official or commissioned data to detail household projections over a 20-year period or between any 2 years within that range. Changes between years are shown both numerically and proportionately, as you can see on the screen. The next stage is to profile the cost of all housing options and to apply an affordability threshold to determine affordability against local incomes. Outputs from this stage can be viewed in table or graphical formats. We now translate household projections, housing costs and affordability into an assessment of gross housing requirements by each of bed size, tenure and age of household. You can also take into account any backlog in the supply of housing. Additional requirements or surpluses of housing are quantified and are clearly identified using a traffic light system. But we don't leave it there. One of the major issues in projecting housing requirements is the growing demand from older households, most of whom will already have a family-sized home from which they are unlikely to downsize. This stage models the requirement for replacement housing and identifies the requirement for specialised housing for older people. The next stage recognises the importance of understanding supply from the current stock of housing, and that there may be historic mismatches between the requirements of existing households and the housing they occupy. Finally, we recognise the potential impact on future housing requirements of local variations in such important factors as internal and international migration, employment growth and changes in household formation. The impact of any scenario can be modelled and the effects visualised immediately. The toolkit contains a wealth of detail, but an opening page provides an executive summary of the key outputs to inform your policies and plans.